Welcome to week 8 of Bible Studies for Life. Second week in this new section of the study as we're in the month of October. Things are going well, right? The leaves are turning. Maybe where you live, I don't know, I'm in Houston, Texas, and it's just hot. But here we go. We're in Genesis. Look at this, 39 to 41. It's 3 chapters, okay? There's 3 passages, one in each chapter, short passages. So if you're going to really do this well as a teacher, then you need to read all of 39 to 41. Even if you're already familiar with the story, go back and read it and refamiliarize yourself with the story, okay? Before we look at the passage, if you haven't already, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up button to like the video. If you've got questions or comments or thoughts or how you're teaching it, put that in the comments and then share the video with somebody else. Appreciate it if you'll do that as well. If you want to support our work, you can go to give.exposedtochrist.com. Okay, we're going to look here at 39:21 to 23. It's the story of Joseph. Obviously picks up in the middle of the story, right? But the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him. He granted him favor with the prison warden. Okay, here's your clue. Joseph has been sold into slavery to Egypt. He's there. He got purchased by Potiphar. Potiphar put him in charge of his entire household. Potiphar's wife had made a little sexual advances towards Joseph. Joseph turned that down. She accused him of abusive behavior, and he was arrested and thrown into jail because that was the way it worked. This was not a country focused on justice and righteousness. We need to know that, right? When you're in a place that does not believe in justice, you will often suffer. The righteous do well under justice. The righteous often suffer under injustice, as does everybody else, except for the powerful. The powerful put him in jail, but even though he was in jail, but the Lord was with Joseph. What a great promise, right? What a great thought. That the Lord is with us. Even when we are suffering unjustly, the Lord is with us. He granted him favor with the prison warden. So the warden put all the prisoners who were in the prison under Joseph's authority, and he was responsible for everything that was done there. This you see for Joseph over and over and over again in Potiphar's house. He because of the character and his work ethic and all of that, he rises up and he becomes trusted with everything. And then he goes to prison. And because of the character and the work ethic and all of that, he rises up again, and now he's entrusted with everything going on under the warden's care. And the warden did not bother with anything under Joseph's authority because the Lord was with him, and the Lord made everything that he did successful. Wow. Things were good, even in a horrible place. You see, it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter what has happened. There are some things we have no control over, but what we do have control over is how we respond or react. We may not be able to control what happens to us, but we control how we respond to whatever happens to us. And Joseph's response was always trust, faith in the Lord. God's going to get me through this, and he acted in response to his relationship with God, not in response to the things that happened to him. This is so important for, this is hard. Look, for every single one of us, this is hard to say, I'm going to respond to this out of my walk with God, not out of the flesh, not out of my anger, not out of my frustration with what's going on. I'm going to trust that God is going to redeem this in my life. And you read the whole story and you see that God indeed takes this place where he is and raises him up. And it's almost as if God had a plan. And every time Satan tried to foil the plan, God just, well, here's what we're doing. Joseph's going to end up, running the kingdom, basically. That's what's going to happen. And every time Satan wants to try to ruin that, God just says, oh, I can deal with that. Trust God that he will work through things, right? So he trusted, and so he's now got all the prisoners under his authority. So the king of Egypt's cupbearer and baker, who were confined in the prison, each had a dream. Both had a dream on the same night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they looked distraught. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?" "Well, we had dreams," they said to him, "but there's no one to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, "Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." Joseph knew something about dreams. Okay. All right, so we got the cupbearer and the baker. They get thrown into jail. They're confined in the prison, right? They both have a dream. They have a dream. They don't have anybody to interpret the dream. Joseph comes. He says, "What's wrong?" And Joseph's response to them is, "Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." You see, Joseph believed that God was in control, that God was sovereign, even though his life appeared to be in utter chaos. See, from the outside, you might look at Joseph and say, "How in the world can you believe that God is in control? Look where you are. Look what has happened. Look at the injustice that has occurred to you. How you have been punished for not doing the wrong thing. You got punished for doing the right thing, Joseph. How can you believe God is in control?" But he believed that still, didn't he? And he's been in prison for a while now, and he still believed that God was in control. He still trusted the Lord. Okay, so he interprets the dreams. He gets the interpretation correct. He tells the cupbearer, "You're going to get returned to Pharaoh." He tells the baker, "You're going to get, you're going to die. That's what's going to happen to you, bud." So it's all true. It's all right. We pick up now. Look, we were in chapter 40. Now we're in 41. Pharaoh was angry with his servants, and he put me and the chief baker in the custody of the captain of the guards. Okay, you see what's happening here now. This is the cupbearer who is talking to Pharaoh, and he's retelling the story to Pharaoh of when he got thrown into jail. This is, I think it appears pretty clear, years later. So Joseph does this good thing, and they say, "We'll remember this," but no, they don't. They don't give him any credit until suddenly this thing happens where Pharaoh has a dream, and Pharaoh needs an interpretation. And the cupbearer, Pharaoh's frustrated because nobody can tell him what his dream means, and then the cupbearer remembers what happened to him way back when he was in prison, right? We were in custody of the captain of the guards, and he and I had dreams on the same night. Each dream had its own meaning. Now, there was this young Hebrew. Okay, here's what's important about that. Joseph doesn't hide his identity. He doesn't try to pretend to be something else to get along better. It's clear he is a Hebrew. A slave of the captain of the guards was with us there. We told him our dreams. He interpreted our dreams for us, and each had its own interpretation. And it turned out just the way he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position. The other man was hanged. And then Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and they quickly brought him from the dungeon. He shaved, changed his clothes, and went to Pharaoh. God raised him up there to get him in front of Pharaoh, where God wanted him to be. But Joseph had to wait. He had to be patient. He had to trust. He had to believe that through all of this, that God would be faithful. He acted faithfully to the Lord, and the Lord raised him up to the place where he wanted him to be. But it was hard. There's no way that we should think, we should get in our minds that all of this happened as fast as you'll be able to read 39, 40, and 41. There was a long time that goes here. And I think, we need to think clearly about some things. I think it might help us to realize that these were days and days and weeks and months when Joseph just had to live his life in prison, obedient to God, trusting. This is how I'm going to live my life wherever I am, because this is all I can control. I can't do it. I can't do anything else. And are we willing to just trust God when there's nothing else we can do? To trust God, to recognize there's nothing else I can do except trust God. And look, you're going to be in a situation this week, this month, where you have absolutely no control over anything except how you respond. And the question will you respond out of your flesh based on the circumstances, or will you respond out of trust to God and trust in God? And I'll let the Lord take care of this. There are some things only God can do. And for those things, I have to trust. What else can I do? What else should I do but trust in Him? So that's this, I think, part of this great story of Joseph and his life. Read all of it. It'll help you as you do that. I hope that's helped you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for teaching. Be sure and subscribe, like, comment, share with somebody else. All right.